Well, good evening and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, with tonight is my Techie with Moses, Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, being evil as normal, getting your haircut, and all the other human things that we have to do to maintain us. Hello, Miss Brenda. How are you?
Yes, hello, Brenda.
Very grateful right now for Amazon Prime,
Yes.
living in a small town.
Um, yes, really.
Yeah, yes. All right. So let's
Ooh,
kind of dive in. We've got some new moon energy rocking, and it's been wonky for you.
you know, it's not real. Well, it's not really the new moon energy. It's that Mercury in retrograde, pre-shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've always said that hits me hardest, and boy, this time
Right.
it has taken me for a ride.
Right.
Like, mm, may I point out, I hate 2012 IMAX with passion.
Yes.
And just say that if you're looking for a used iMac at all, please skip the years 2011 to 2013, just
Right.
entirely, just across the board. If
Mm-hmm.
you see 2011, 2012, or 2013 as the year,
Mm-hmm.
away. These were
Right.
the years they did the basically glue on screen.
Right.
Oh my God, that thing is fragile.
Well, it is, and that's been a little bit of a project and a problem. And what I do
Mm-hmm.
not like, and this is one of the things I don't care for, is I really think that it's pre-designed to be bad.
Well, I think more so in this situation, it wasn't necessarily pre-designed to be bad
Right.
exactly. It was just one of those moments where Apple did a dumb, like a
Mm-hmm.
really dumb,
Right.
in kind of like we're gonna cheapen the product,
Right.
while also making it more expensive.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, the currently the iMac is dead
Right.
because I refuse to buy a new screen for it.
Yeah.
I cannot justify this in my head.
Right. So it will get onslaughted and we will get us new.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
I just like, but here's the moment I do want to talk about real quick, and we'll have a
Uh-huh.
tech section later. But since we're here,
Right.
um, and this is part like it's a little bit about the repairability and right to repair,
Mm-hmm.
but more so like all I was trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a professional. Like that's what makes this so bad is I'm a professional. I know the risks. I know the things. It's not like I was going in with a jackhammer
Right.
to do this.
Right.
Um, but this is part of the easy to ordinarily easy to upgrade components. I was replacing a hard drive with an SSD, so spinny disk to SSD. All I'm trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
and even being as gentle as humanly possible, managed to crack the screen,
Right.
as in the outermost layer, because it is that delicate. And was not the first time that had happened, because it was actually at a spot that was already a little bit cracked.
Mm-hmm.
So this computer had been opened before. But yeah, while dealing with the fact that like this is such a like nightmare design,
Mm-hmm.
and just having that annoyance moment that I'm a professional and I can't do this.
Right.
Literally, you are sealing these computers, or at least those 3 years, in a way that like average consumers cannot possibly be expected
Mm-hmm.
to ever do anything.
Right.
Add more RAM, which is pretty simple. change out a hard drive if it fails or you want bigger or better.
Mhm.
Like simple. Clean it out. Clean it out. Like this is a 11-year-old computer. I don't think it had ever been opened to clean out the stupid fan.
Right. Hello, Brenda. How are you?
Like
I
these
mean,
are
hello, Shannon.
normal things.
Yeah. It's fucking a pain in my ass. Okay? This is what chaps my ass about Apple in general. If I
Yes.
need a bigger hard drive in either one of my computers, I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. For most people, literally, it's not that big of a deal. You take the side off of the case,
Uh-huh.
and even for the newer iMacs, it's not that bad. Like there's some special instructions.
Mm-hmm.
It is not super easy, but it is doable. You just have to slow down, take your time,
Mm-hmm.
and be a little careful.
Right.
But no, I think the average 14-year-old could pull this off.
Right.
But no, like building products where you cannot fix commonly failed items like hard
Mm-hmm.
drives, especially when we're talking about because I happen to have it sitting right here. Like these are
Yeah.
spinny discs. This one didn't fail,
Right.
but like hi, it's it is an HGST Travel Star, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me double check. Sorry, trying to check.
It'll
I
make a
can't
lovely
find it.
backup drive for me.
Yeah, but it's also one of the drives that frequently fail.
Right.
Like I mean, in laptops they fail constantly. I've never liked certain models of drives. Just because like every time I open a system with a failed drive, it's like it's that one. Like
Mm-hmm.
good 9 out of 10. It's like, oh, I know what drive you had.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it failed in a year. Oh, I know what drive you had.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to trust your shit to it, Aeson.
Oh, I've got disaster recovery set up across the board. I need a drive, however, to hold shit.
Aeson, you gave her RA?
I did not jinx her to give her RA. However, we will take a few minutes to give you some tips.
Well, there we go. We won't give you RA, but we will give you RA tips.
One,
If that helps.
Shannon, you're not going to like this one. Monitor your sugar, keep it low. Monitor your carbs, keep it low. Move. If you're hurting, move. I know it hurts.
Do
It'll feel
more.
better once you move.
Yeah, it's like the most screwed up inverse relationship. I feel like crap. Now I have to get up and actually do stuff.
Right.
To feel better, you have to get up and do stuff because the
Mm-hmm.
less you move, the more it hurts.
Right. And don't get cold because you'll stay cold.
Mm-hmm.
I would not do their normal medicational regimen because that's bullshit. It'll kill you.
Well, and we want to be very careful to say, from personal experience, he will not do the normal medication regimen because, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to try it, that's up to you. But if you're not feeling as awesome as they said you would,
Right.
you're not alone.
Right.
You're not alone.
Yep.
Oh,
That's very
so been
strongly
dealing with,
possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, let's see what the labs do. And like, here's the rub though. I like a friend of mine all the way back to high school. Got diagnosed, and I forget which. Nor do I remember the rest of the story. There's more to it. Anyway, got diagnosed with a form of arthritis all the way back then, like when she was 14.
Mm-hmm.
And for years they were doing treatments, they were doing all the things you're supposed to do for that form of RA or for that form of arthritis. Nothing good came up for this girl. Like she hurt constantly. And so finally,
Mm-hmm.
after high school, I ran into her a few years later, and she was all just bubbly, happily living her life, doing anything she wanted to do, felt great. And I was like, what happened? They misdiagnosed her.
Mm-hmm.
It took them years to figure out they had horribly misdiagnosed her. Like, it was still arthritis,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a different type.
Mm-hmm.
So everything they were doing for what they first diagnosed her with,
Right.
nothing. Nothing.
Right.
And she was arguing the whole time. I don't feel better. I feel worse. I like this. This isn't getting better. No one listened to her until finally she got to adulthood and pitched a bitch. I'm sure because this girl had a temper. And they got the right diagnosis, and she got on the right meds, and everything like literally improved for her.
Right.
Like
Also, if he's running RA tests, have him run Cushing syndrome tests because they're very close, but they're not the same.
this is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hang in there.
Yeah.
That's anyone who gets an arthritis based diagnosis that's always my advice is hang in there.
Yep.
Like, don't expect them to get it right the first time or the 50th. Every doctor is going to repeat your tests. You're going to deal with physicians who don't believe you. You're going to it's a whole mess.
Yep. Very much so.
Wow.
But no, there's something called Bright Living Diet. Let me make sure that I'm saying it right.
I was just like, Aeson kept asking me what shots I did for RA, and I was just, I'm osteo, not rheumatoid. He jinxed me.
Uh-huh.
That's what Shannon just said. Oh, but there are those moments where like something just seems so familiar, you just can't, like, no matter
Uh-huh.
how many times someone says, no, it's this, no, it's this, no, it's this. Like, oh, I know what this is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm feeling it, I'm vibing it,
Uh-huh.
I'm there.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's delve into some news, shall we?
Sure. And I already know where we're starting because, like, hi, if you've had a rough day, here's the words you want to hear. Trump and 18 co-defendants charged with racketeering in Georgia 2020 election probe. Charges
Yep.
in the spiraling indictment include racketeering and conspiracy.
The indictment handed down by the judge around 9 p.m. and made public just before 11 p.m. Trump was charged with felony racketeering and numerous conspiracy charges, and court filings show. Racketeering charges carries a sentence of 5 to 20 years, while conspiracy convictions may result in a minimum sentence of 1 year in prison with a variable mixture of sentences. Trump and the other defendants charged in the indictment refused to accept Trump's loss, and they knowingly and willingly joined in conspiracy to change the outcome of the elections in favor of Trump. This 98-page indictment lays out a number of allegation schemes amid a rising the goal indictment and state officers to change the results according to the voting machines data in rural Coffee County and harassing election worker Ruby Freeman with bogus fraud claims. Trump has denied any wrongdoing. Giuliani, the loss of a great mayor, did hours before the indictment was made public. Scott Gudeman, a lawyer for Cherubro, said Thursday his client is giving the Trump campaign legal advice and stands readily by to defend himself against this unfounded charges. He has 10 days to turn his happy little ass into Georgia's little jail prison.
Sorry, this is the best quote ever. Sorry, I was reading just a little past that. Ellis, meanwhile, tweeted Tuesday morning, the Democrats and the Fulton County DA are criminalizing the practice of law. I'm sorry, I thought the practice of law was about criminalizing bad behavior. I'm sorry, it just kills me. Like, what did you think the DA did?
Right.
I'm sorry, I know I read that a little off, but still.
What's interesting is Fulton County District Attorney Wells said at a late night news conference, the arrest warrants have been issued for all the defendants, and each has until August 25th to surrender voluntarily. If we took his passport yet, it might be a good time to do that because racketeering is a very serious charge.
Yeah, Willis said she intends to try all 19 defendants together and is aiming to have the case go to trial in the next 6 months. You know this is going to end up televised.
I'm hoping it does.
Oh, like, I will pop popcorn for that.
I know. I'm hoping some of our legal commentators on the tubes, and Emily, hey, Law and Lumber, why don't we get some streaming going on here, honeys?
Yeah, really. Oh, the indictment also focuses on the so-called fake electors, people who signed a certificate falsely declaring that Trump won Georgia in the 2020 election and that they were the state's official electors. A number of the bogus electors struck immunity deals with Willis's office in the past few months, court filings show. Though through the indictment, prosecutors number at least 30 unindicted co-conspirators, a fair number of whom are alleged to have participated in the fake elector plot. Something tells me this is going to be a real short trial.
I don't know. I just wonder how many plea deals are going to get struck here.
They've already done 30. I don't think they're arming up to do 18 more. I think they're intending all 19 are going to go to prison.
Yeah. There is an odd thing here, and I just wonder.
Well, I said short trial. I just saw the panel heard from 75 witnesses in the special grand jury. So that'll take a minute.
I just wonder what's going on in Vegas right now.
Okay.
So that was from August.
Sorry, I can't keep up with how many places he's being tried, indicted, investigated, scrutinized.
Well, there's 4 main cases. One is the federal election case in the District of Columbia.
Yes.
Then there is the Georgia election indictment. Mm-hmm. Then there's the federal documents case in Florida. Mm-hmm. Then there is the New York State case related to hush money to Stormy Daniels, falsifying business records 4 years. Those are the 4 main ones.
Yes. Like that's a lot of very major charges to be dealing with while also thinking you're going to get elected for a second appointment as president, or a second term, so to speak, as president. Re-elected as president, I guess is the better way to put that. That's a lot to take on.
Interesting. I figured Vegas was already into this. The odds are 15 to 6 that he'll serve jail time before 2025.
Oh, nice. Oh. Do you ever wonder if he's going to hit a point in which he can't bail or bond out?
See, that's just it. They keep releasing him on his own recognizances because he is technically in the custody of the Secret Service.
Well, true. I can kind of see that is like, there's a lot of people you can shake. Secret Service is hard.
No, they're very hard to shake. Ask the Reagan children. They never got it done.
Hey, there you go. But no, I'm just.
I have to highlight this because, yeah, I'm like.
Well, I still like, real quick, while you're grabbing that, because I had this pop in earlier. CNN, Trump indicted. MSNBC, Trump indicted. C-SPAN, Trump indicted. The Weather Channel, Trump indicted. Fox News, is an egg a fruit or a vegetable? Like, I love that tweet. Like, I give formerly known as Twitter,
X,
because that's what I'm calling it now. We're taking the Prince process and just applying it to Twitter's name. The social media formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, that one. Sometimes they do really good suggested posts. I do have to appreciate that. Like that one rang in and made money.
Right. Right. Moving on. Let's go to North Korea.
All right. North Korea says Travis King wants refuge from racism mistreatment in U.S. North Korea concluded that Travis King wants refuge there or in another country because of inhuman maltreatment and racial discrimination in the U.S. and the military, state media said on Wednesday. Pyongyang's first public, I think I read that correctly, first public acknowledgement of King's crossing from South Korea on July 18. A private in the U.S. Army, King dashed into the north while on a civilian tour of the joint security area on the heavily fortified border between the two Koreas. U.S. officials have said they believe King crossed the border intentionally and have declined so far to classify him as a prisoner of war. North Korean investigators have also concluded that King crossed deliberately and illegally with the intent to stay in the north or in a third country, state news agency KCNA said. During the investigation, Travis King confessed that he had decided to come over to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea as he harbored ill feeling against inhuman maltreatment and racial discrimination within the U.S. Army, KCNA reported, using the initials of North Korea's official name. He also expressed his willingness to seek refuge in the DPRK or a third country, saying that he was disillusioned at the unequal American society. KCNA said King was kept under control by soldiers of the Korean People's Army after his crossing, and the investigation is still active. King's uncle, Myron Gates, told ABC News earlier in August that his nephew was experiencing racism during his military deployment, and after he spent time in a South Korean jail, he did not sound like himself. So, U.S. officials have so far said that the North had not provided substantive responses to the request for information on King. And the Pentagon has said they could not verify King's comments. The White House did not immediately respond. A spokesperson for the United Nations Command, which oversees the border village where King crossed, said he did not have anything to add to previous statements. And how to classify the 23-year-old has been an open question for the U.S. military. So as an active duty soldier, he might appear to qualify as a POW, given that the United States and North Korea technically remain at war. So yeah. But apparently he
see, I don't see him as a POW.
Yeah, well, factors including King's decision to cross into North Korea of his own free will in civilian attire appear to have disqualified him from POW status, U.S. officials have said. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my thoughts on this. He is, oh, what did they used to call it when Russian soldiers walked over to the U.S.? Help me here.
Oh, there's a little bit more going on with this story. So King,
Okay.
who joined the U.S. Army in January 2021, is a cavalry scout with the Korean Rotational Force, which is part of the U.S. security commitment to South Korea. But his posting was dogged by legal troubles. He faced 2 allegations of assault in South Korea and eventually pleaded guilty to 1 instance of assault and destroying public property for damaging a police car during a profanity-laced tirade against Koreans, according to court documents. He was
Mhm.
due to face more disciplinary measures when he arrived back in the United States. King had finished serving military detention and had been transported by the U.S. military to the airport to return to his home unit in the United States. Instead, he left the airport, joined a tour of the broader area, where he ran across, despite attempts by South Korean and U.S. guards to stop him.
Yep, he's
So,
defective.
well, trying to figure out what he is at this point in terms. POW is kind of off the table. He's not been forcibly detained
Mhm.
exactly.
Right.
Um,
Maybe he'll meet up with
defector.
Snowden.
Do I know?
Maybe he'll meet up with Snowden.
Snowden
Hmm.
in North Korea?
Well,
Snowden?
Snowden's in Russia, North Korea. It's just in the same neighborhood.
Well, yeah, kind of. But no, I don't even think defector works because defector kind of has the connotation that you left for like persecution or to aid in calling out, a perceived injustice.
Hmm.
Which I mean, maybe like we would really have to like dig into his claims of inhumane treatment and all of that. Um, but right now there's not really a good word.
Yeah.
Like
And there's questions of mental status.
it's more like avoiding extradition, but I don't know that there was really an extradition to be
Right.
avoided so much as fear of what would happen to him when he returned to the US.
Right.
So basically he fled.
Hmm. He
Additional
went
charges and
AWOL.
additional, yeah, he went AWOL, and due to his, perceptively he went AWOL because of his legal troubles.
Right.
I mean, I think that's basically what happened.
Hmm.
Like again, without being able to validate any of the statements that have been attributed to him, or to really get a handle on this.
Hmm.
This is a very muddy water situation that doesn't
Right.
have good terms.
Right. And I think that it's very, very muddling.
A little bit, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's not a lot of good there. Alrighty.
Alrighty, so moving forward, let's go into this interesting fact on divorce.
So 46% of divorced couples say this was the number one conflict in their relationship, and it isn't money.
Nope.
All right, almost 690,000 couples reported getting divorced in 2021, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's about half the number of couples who reported getting married. Most couples file for what is called a no-fault divorce, which means you can dissolve your marriage without showing that either party has committed any wrongdoing. That doesn't mean that the union ended without friction, though. There are a handful of commonly cited factors that couples feel put a strain on their marriage, according to a Forbes advisor survey. The biggest conflicts divorced couples encountered are career choices, parenting differences, division of household labor, relationships with family, relationships with friends, finances, health choices.
Hmm.
Almost half, 46% of those surveyed said career choices were the biggest source of conflict in their marriage. Parenting differences came in second at 43%. So literally 89% of divorces are happening because of career choices and parenting differences in that 690,000 survey.
Does that surprise you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not because, those aren't major issues and I can see them causing major strain in a relationship. I just kind of would have thought finances would have remained number one.
Right. Now it's fallen.
Now it's
fallen. And here's why I think it is. Because a lot of men base their identity on their career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we look back at 2021, it was a big shift in career.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of businesses were closing. A lot of people were losing their identity because they lost their job. All this is going on. So I find that interesting.
Oh, yeah. So only 5% of divorcees say there was no way their marriage could have been saved, the survey says. A whopping 63% said that having a better understanding of commitment prior to marrying could have helped them avoid divorce. And more than half said that they had had a better understanding of their spouse's morals and values prior to getting married, they might still be together. So interesting things to think about. It is kind of important, and apparently very.
Right.
I'm just wondering what career choices we're talking about here, and how far off on parenting does one get? Like, what? I feel like I'm missing something here. Like, well, are we talking about like overall? Like, I want free range children. I want to beat our children religiously until they turn 18. Like, how far off do you get on parenting differences?
Well, I think you can get off a lot on parenting differences, whether it's in the boarding schools or to keep them in public school. Whether acceptable for a 5-year-old to be up at 10 p.m. at night. What is grounding?
These always seem resolvable. I think they're just things you should expect to have to work through, that we're not always going to agree on this.
Right.
That people got raised differently, that people, hit a situation, go, I don't see a problem with it.
Right. But, let's just throw this at our household. We have a different way of handling the animals. All three of us handle them differently.
Mm-hmm.
Invisible is very much, they can do anything. Don't care. Let them go do anything. As long as they don't kill each other.
Basically.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like, but they were provoked. I watched it happen.
Yeah. Like, he defends when I go to scold. I'm very much their children. They will behave and they will do their jobs.
Fair enough.
Gizmo goes to bed at 1 a.m. because he is a 3-year-old. He needs to go to his kennel.
Yes. Meanwhile, I surprisingly ride in on a broomstick like the evil stepmother that I am, and I'm like, why are you here?
Uh-huh.
It's not untrue.
Right.
Like, isn't there a boarding school you could attend?
Right.
Like, I've had a few moments. Like, no, I do genuinely appreciate and care for the animals. It's just, one, I have some things I literally cannot do. Like the level of nausea that comes with the smell of pet food just kills me. So I'm there's no hope of biting the hand that feeds them.
Right.
Because I don't.
Right.
Like, that is someone else's choice. Now, I will take care of water.
Yes.
Like, I don't have a problem with that. I will do water.
And you're bad about giving them snacks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I have to make up for the fact that I'm riding in on a broomstick normally.
I know, and I get that, but, if there's a choice between going to this daddy or going to that daddy, they will go to that daddy for the Oreos.
Well, yeah, because they know. Well, not Oreos. Like that's
Yes.
only for the Pomeranian. Um, but now the gingerbread men that are actually a dog treat. Yes. Like I do hand those out kind of free willing.
Yeah.
Like, but it's with the general idea of like I have given you snackies, lots of snackies. Please be quiet. Like this is the exchange rate. Is like I expect a volume of like 1 for a set period of time based on the number of snackies.
Right. But at the same time, if there's this, like, I'm the only one that disciplines.
Mm-hmm. You are.
Like, literally, I'm the one that yells, like, came in today, cat, Anna was very close to the door and did not belong where she was because she doesn't need to be that close to the door.
Yeah, because she
I'm
has
the
a
one that
tendency
had
to
to
bolt.
back her off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the invisible and him are the softies. I'm the enforcer.
Well, yeah, because again, broomstick rider.
Yeah.
I mean, I work it out, and technically it all works together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like I hand them the box of snacks. I'm better than this.
True.
But yeah, you'll get extra snacks from me, and all of our pets are like totally normal.
Yeah.
Like, don't be concerned. It's not like we're sitting here with like a toddler aged Australian Shepherd with diabetes that is big around as a keg.
Not yet.
That's
not yet. He's working on it.
No, actually, he's not. Have you paid attention recently?
Yes, he's lost weight.
Yeah.
It's
like,
summer, honey. He's been running his ass off.
Yeah, he has been very
right.
Brenda's like, I've always ended up having to be the mean one.
Yep.
Now here's the thing though with like pseudo parenting, because that's the best I can claim. Because if you don't parent your children, I will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do not have me babysit your child.
Right.
If you want to go like full free range, I don't. And when I say free range, I'm talking not necessarily what is technically considered free range parenting. I'm talking that like wild, free, crazy, feral parenting that gets frequently labeled as free range. Yeah, no, if you're feral parenting, which you will always say it's free range, but if you're feral parenting your child, do not send them near me. I will fix this in a minute.
Right.
Because no, we are not doing this. We are not doing this.
No.
Like, and I will not hit your child. I will not even lay a finger on your child. But I will hit their reset button. I will find their reset button and hit it hard.
Right. Now, career choices, I could see that being a big issue. Like if I got up tomorrow morning, got an email and said, oh, we're moving to Germany, pack your shit, there'd be some resistance.
Would there though?
Yeah.
I could enjoy Germany.
Yeah.
Like, are we talking Berlin or are we talking like some weirdo place no one's ever heard of?
Probably outside of Berlin.
Yeah, Shannon's like, I'm good with that. Like if we're talking suburban, like like Berlin bedroom community, again, I could be good with that.
Yeah.
I could be very good with that. But like if we're talking like the German equivalent of where we are now, oh, I'm gonna be 5 kinds of mad.
Or like, LA.
Yeah, no,
I've wanted to move to LA for years. Every person I get into a relationship, nope, don't like an earthquake. And I'm like, they happen here.
I don't have a problem with the earthquake. I have a problem with like just the like that's hot.
Yes.
Like, that's incredibly hot. Like, do you know how hot California is? Do you know how expensive it is to live in California?
Yes, and I also know what my pay is in California.
Well, fair, but still.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
It's like, And again, like, are we talking like LA, or are we talking like way out of LA and it's more like we live on a dirt farm?
Right.
Like again, different things. Like,
No, like West Hollywood,
how?
LA, or China area of San Francisco.
Yeah, well, Brenda's got it down pat. Joe would just wave by if it was somewhere he didn't like. Come visit me a few times a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, by the way, I'll be moving to somewhere, else, like preferably a larger city. Because
yeah.
I mean, well, because technically that would probably be how the situation would run down. Is like we would either be selling or renting out this house, so I'm gonna have to move.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not moving like 3 doors down or something.
Right.
Joe would be like, try to smuggle me in this list of snacks. Oh, Shannon says certain parts of Africa or the Middle East I'd dig in about.
Right.
Yeah. There's a whole list of countries. It's like,
Yeah, there's like, a whole list of no, we are not.
Well, yeah, but there are places like okay, here's a good one. Because we have legit talked about this one before some major news events happen.
Right.
Russia.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, not going near Russia. No. I'm sorry, I'm too suburban and white for Russia. I will get abducted.
Right. Well, no, and and it was because I was offered a TV deal. In actually Crimea, not Russia.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's bad.
Right. But it's still not Russia. But if I took the TV deal, then it wouldn't have worked because they were invading as we were in negotiations.
Yeah, Shannon was like, I was gonna say I have gay friends trying to get out of Russia. I don't think you guys should enjoy that.
No.
I mean, everything's enjoyable if you're kinky enough.
Well, Gary, but so that was a large internal debate, and yes, I ended up turning down the offer. I don't even think the show got produced because so many international psychics turned it down.
Yeah. It was kind of a hard sell.
It was.
That's kind of a hard sell.
Yeah, especially when they wanted copyright to our name for 3 years, licensing to our name for exclusive licensing to our name for 3 years. Exclusive. There was a lot of exclusiveness for, not enough money.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Sometimes, there's just this unrealistic idea.
Of,
like, what you can do. And it's because it's worked for other shows and other situations.
Yeah.
I mean, like, heaven help Honey Boo Boo.
Right.
Like, I don't think she hardly got anything. Nor did Mama June.
Right.
Like, TLC does not pay.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's not like they give you no money. Like, they pay. But, like, they catch a lot of people that do not know better.
Right.
And it's like, no, you're gonna, like, I understand, like, first year, maybe you do a light contract because, like, maybe this sells, maybe it bombs. But by the time you have, like, a ratings hit, and you're going back for that second contract, like, oh, yeah. But it seems like a lot of these are just like, nope.
Well, see, and that's what a lot of, like, Best American, what was it, next I'm sorry, I've been
Next up,
pitched a few shows. What is it? Next?
America's Got Talent. I don't know. There's a lot
Next
of these
Best
shows.
Psychic.
Oh.
America's Next Best Psychic. It was Korea. Anyway, it was one of those next best, whatever psychics. Yeah, it was the Psychic Challenge. Sorry, I had to pull up documents. Yeah. Again, 3 years is a long time for, only $25,000 per episode.
Like, and 25,000 sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it truly is. Small problem there.
Right.
The level of engagement.
Right.
And the things that you're inevitably going to have to go through, because, hi, I'm sorry, have we not watched enough reality television since the 90s? Right. The crap you're going to have to put up with in your life because you have been on a TV series.
Right.
Is not worth $25,000.
Right.
Like, unless you're trying to spin it into something else and you're just like, I would do it in a back room with an ugly producer.
Right.
To get on television.
Yeah.
And that's generally about the level of desperation they tend to look for.
Right. And it's like, no, not what I'm looking for. Bring me real money, I think was the comment I came back with. Because I would have to cover 3 years of income plus restarting my business. All right. So, but those are career choices that can really cause trouble in a relationship. Us getting a reality TV show apparently would be a cursed event.
Okay.
Look at all the famous couples that really made it in reality TV.
Ooh.
That are still couples.
Although I have to say, and you bring up a point that popped up in one of my groups today, and it's actually adorable.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Because it was kind of cute, actually. Let me look at which one was it? Oh, I know which one it is. Okay, so Survivor. Lovely reality television show. Brett LaBelle and YouTuber Stan Chris dish on their relationship and the 27-year age gap between them. So that's a story on Queerty. So let me send that over to you.
Okay.
There you go. So YouTuber and TikToker Stan Chris and his boyfriend, former Survivor contestant Brett LaBelle, have been opening up about their relationship. Besides sharing some YouTube videos together, the men chatted with Bear World magazine, which describes them as a bear it couple. LaBelle, 49, featured in The Amazing Race, but is better known for his stint on a 2016 season of Survivor, Millennials versus Gen X. Although appearing at first to be a stereotypically loud, beer-drinking, sports-loving police officer, he surprised many by coming out as gay during the show's run. He is now a lieutenant in the Boston Police Department. Stan Chris, real name Chris Stanley, 23, has picked up over 1 million followers across social media platforms. He often posts videos where he questions people on the street or larks around with fellow twinks. He is also, it's clear, into big old bears. So how they met, the men will celebrate their second anniversary this year. They revealed they met after DMing each other on Instagram. Quote, I was binging Survivor during quarantine, Chris explained. He says he's watched Brett's season and noted he was from Boston. I was in New Hampshire, so it wasn't that far away. Chris was blown away when Brett came out and realized he was in with a chance. So I just shot my shot with him on Instagram, and it's kind of weird because he had actually messaged me on Instagram before.
Uh,
Like, they're adorable, though.
they are.
They
They're a
are.
cute couple.
Yes, but like, yeah. So I mean, that's one time reality television kind of worked out.
Right.
Like, it took a little while, but you know, it worked out. Like, I think it's cute.
Right.
They're both very pretty.
They are. They're very cute. It's a very nice couple. Um, but there's been a lot of like indictments and everything else.
Dude, what? Oh yeah. Out of like reality television and the
Yeah.
marriages and the divorces and the
Yeah.
nightmares and the yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Real Wives of Beverly Hills, I swear, or Real Wives anywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, Orange County, that's what it was. But any of the Real Wives shows, like you just might as well like co-sponsor that show with Court TV.
Well, I think they should. We have
Like it.
Jen Shaw serving 6 years in prison. We have the whole current debacle still going on with the the lawyer and the hustler.
You're the reality star Benja or reality show Benja.
I'm technically not the reality binger. I'm more the court TV binger of reality TV.
Yeah, well, typically, yeah, the Court TV starts your interest in the reality show that they were on.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the only technical reality shows Todd Chrisley is in jail, and I watched him. Then we have, the Real Wives of New Jersey, like all that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the shows turned into like massive personal legal tragedies.
Right.
I mean, it's sort of like winning the lottery. Is everyone thinks,
Right.
oh, your life's amazing now, and it's like, oh, but no.
No.
Lottery
Hey,
winner
back
5 years later is. Well, it's like, lottery winners 5 years later are usually broke with a substance abuse problem if they're still living.
Right.
And that's the best case.
Right. Of course, I also have plans for lottery that, if I ever win it, I know what I'm doing. There's plan of execution.
Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily that they themselves have a substance abuse problem. It's often their kids.
Right. Well, if Vlad starts sniffing cocaine or meth, we've got an issue. What? He's addictive. He has an addictive personality.
Well, he likes what he likes, though. You got to give him credit. He's consistent.
He is. He is.
Like, I'm just saying, if the dog starts doing drugs,
right,
he is going to be a real consistent customer.
Yes.
Like, and it's only going to be whatever he's into.
Yes. At specific time. Like, he's better than a damn clock. All right, so let's talk about this new moon in Leo and how it's hitting the signs.
All right. So, yeah. New moon in Leo setting the right intentions. So, do you want to just jump into the different signs and what's going on?
Yes, let's go there.
All
so,
right.
of course, we know there's a new moon on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Want to be setting those intentions? Let's go with Aries. You really want true love. Don't be afraid to admit it. Mantra: love grows like perfumed roses from whenever I stand.
All right, Taurus, you want to feel powerful in your truth and get what you want without hurting anyone. Mantra: I've been through every stage of metamorphosis. I am clear because I understand change.
Gemini, you want to feel stable. Mantra: I know how to heal myself and the world around me because I am a star.
There you go. Cancer, my sign, you want to feel reciprocal energy in your relationships and everything you do. My energy moves like the figure 8. Everything I give, I receive simultaneously.
Leos, hello, the new moon is hitting you square in the forehead. You want to feel satisfied. Mantra, I am so grateful that I have everything I need around me.
Virgo, you want to manifest something big seamlessly. Mantra, all of my thoughts become things.
Libras, you want to be better communicators. Mantra, the truth is the truth.
Scorpio, you want to move forward and make money. Mantra, I hold the entire future in my hands and it's time to step into it.
Sagittarians, you want to sail towards smoother waters. Mantra, I see the destination in front of me clearly, and I flow towards it with ease.
Capricorn, you want another job that makes you feel connected. Mantra, I know how to make money because I have golden energy.
Aquarians, you want to trust everything is falling into place. Mantra, I am able to move to the top at top speed, and I am always one step ahead of my dreams.
Pisces, you want to know which road will truly bring you happiness. Mantra, I only do what feels fantastic.
Interesting mantras. Interesting. What do you think of yours and mine comparatively?
I think they combine interestingly. Like, because, okay, his is you really want true love, don't be afraid to admit it. Mantra, love grows like perfumed roses from wherever I stand. And mine is you want to feel reciprocal energy in your relationships and everything you do. Mantra, my energy moves like the figure eight. Everything I give, I receive simultaneously. I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. All right.
What you thinking on it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how they comparison. Like they play off each other very well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Brenda, Shannon, what are y'all doing over here?
Fighting over forks.
I've never seen so much conversation about forks. Yep. Are you forking kidding me? No, apparently Shannon is very picky about forks, and so is Brenda.
Mm-hmm. I am too, come to think of it.
Okay.
Because we have two different forks in our current set, and I like the shorter ones.
Which is really confusing because I hate those.
I know.
Because it's like, I don't know, it feels weird.
Right.
It's just like,
I prefer a spoon 99.5% of the time, but if I have to use a fork, I want the short one so it doesn't get stuck on my tongue ring.
It's not what it's about.
Yes.
Things they don't tell you about tongue rings that you have to randomly find out from people with tongue rings. I would have never imagined in a million years that was a problem with a tongue ring. But I can totally follow it. It makes perfect sense.
Right, especially where mine is because it's like in the middle of my mouth.
Well, as are most, aren't they?
No, some people get them up front. Some people get them farther back.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on where this ligament is in for your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why mine is where it's at. That, and I didn't want it like at the tip of my tongue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you went further back.
Oh, yeah.
But no, like, well, and here's the thing, like, I never had an interest in getting a tongue ring myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know a lot of other people did. So I've never ever looked into what all that entails or what, like, it never occurred to me that it would even, like, this sounds bad, but it never even occurred to me that it would be interesting to find out, like, what life is like for someone with a tongue ring. And then even living with you, like, we're about to hit 6 years. Mm-hmm. I did not know that's why you like the shorty forks.
Yeah. I like the shorty forks because it doesn't get stuck in my tongue ring. I like at least 2 cubes of purchased ice in my coffee, no more, because otherwise it becomes a hot piece of metal. Or if I've got the other one in, it's will melt it. I've melted the acrylic in my mouth to bend the bar with coffee before. Ice cream is fun. Like, I don't eat a lot of ice cream because of the same effect.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, I will say though, the most interesting thing, and you got abandoned to do this yourself. I normally would not have thought it would have been a thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we all have to like clean any kind of like jewelry, like if it's earrings or whatever, and would not have thought twice about it until I did it once, and I was like, "You can clean your own tongue jewelry from now on. I want no part of this."
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
One just like because my first assumption was it had been a while, and I was like, "That's effing nasty," and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I cleaned it last week.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no. Yeah, I know the things you learn on this show, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, the things that happen to tongue ring jewelry and like needing to be cleaned are no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
Oh, see the. Okay. Shannon brings up a good point, but let's talk about it. Tongue ring, not bad. It's easy to clean. Pop it out, clean it, put it in. Nipple rings, especially where I've got the gilded ones, which means I have the crossbars. Those are a fucking pain in the ass to keep clean.
Really?
Yeah.
I've literally never had a problem. Sorry, those of you just finding out I have nipple rings. Family members included. If you're watching the show, you know. Like I never ever had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I literally never had a problem with like. Now I will say one took forever to heal up,
Mm-hmm.
and like it did have a lot of like early on
Mm-hmm.
like cleaning like dead skin accumulation and things like that.
Right.
But like I don't know, it was probably like 2 years of that because it was a really slow healer.
Right.
But before it got happy, so I had to clean the daylights out of it
Mm-hmm.
for those 2 years. But then after that, it's like I can take care of this in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really, it's not like effort.
No.
It's like 10 seconds of my day.
Right. But the other part of that is like the salt soaks.
Mm-hmm.
Those take a bit. And for me, I think I
Wait,
have a
you're
higher
still having to
acetone
do
because I have to
salt?
replace my jewelry about every 6 months.
You're still having to do salt soaks?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, honey. Like if I get into like if we go to a lake, I have to go and salt soak because otherwise they get sore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again,
Not your experience.
not my experience at all.
Yeah. It's like, Christmas we're gonna have some fun because you're gonna have to get the whatever the things are. The snappy the hypodermics so that we can replace the jewelry.
Oh, okay.
Because it's getting time to replace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like earrings, they're a fucking nightmare for me. That's why I rarely change mine.
I finally gave up on wearing earrings because I have the one piercing. It was double pierced.
Uh-huh.
And my own fault. I told the piercer to go right back through where I had it previously, and that was a mistake. And I really wish we had talked that out.
Mm-hmm.
I like, but it was a piercer who just didn't care. Like, whatever you want, dude, that's what I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
I end up, I do what now?
It was a scraper.
Well, I don't know. Like, it was a piercing gun, and it was one of those really quick. Like both times, it was piercing gun.
Right.
But what ended up happening is that
Right.
internally I have two tracks in that ear,
Mm-hmm.
and they cross each other.
Right.
And so trying to put an earring in that ear, like, and they're like different, well, they may be the same diameters now, which would be worse. But basically, I have one track that internally is still open, but externally is closed,
Mm-hmm.
and then another track that crosses it that
Right.
is internally and externally open.
Right.
So when I try to put an earring in, though, occasionally if the earring wiggles at all, because like this looks like it'd be really easy, but imagine this at the scale of my ear.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it accidentally pushed the stem of the earring in wrong, and
Yeah. And no, you
yeah,
don't change out nose rings unless you have to, and carry piercings, I wouldn't change either.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So up to you, our favorite side of the show.
Oh, cartilage piercings, I don't change out. Yeah.
Okay, I was questioning that one, but we'll go with it. Cartridge piercings, I wouldn't change out either. I actually have both mine done, had both mine done, and if I get them redone, which I've highly thought about, um, then I'm going back to a piercer and having them do it. That is much easier than going to like Claire's or whatever to have it put in.
Oh yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
so
So
Joe, are you the asshole this week?
am I, and guys, I kind of picked this one randomly, so forgive me if this is not as awesome as I thought it would be.
Right.
Am I the asshole for causing my siblings to lose massive amounts of money when they need it most? This is a messy situation all around. Sometimes I feel like my actions are justified, while at other times I feel like I'm just plain wrong. This is where it had me. I was like, we're doing this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, my brothers, sisters, and I do not have a great relationship. We're all low or no contact with each other. I have a great job that pays very well while they're barely making minimum wage or living off their spouses. During our parents' last years, I was the only one in a position to help them. I paid for whatever care they needed and made sure they were comfortable. My siblings sometimes visited our parents, but none contributed to their care. I also paid the taxes and maintenance of their house. We never discussed their wills beyond them letting me know they existed. When our dad passed, he left everything to our mom. When she passed, I was shocked. I thought the estate would be divided equally between the children, but instead, the bulk of the estate, almost all of it is in the house, was left to my siblings. My portion was a minority 5% ownership in their house. Mom wrote letters to all of us, and in her letter to me, she thanked me for taking care of her and explained that she left me so little because I didn't really need it, while my siblings need all of the help she could give them. The shock turned into hurt as I did more for my parents than everyone else. My siblings immediately wanted to sell the house to cash out. I don't know the market value, but the tax value is about $750,000. So probably about $375,000 would be the actual sell price. Uh, my siblings are begging me to agree to sell or buy them out because they can't afford their portion of the taxes, including their huge estate tax bill coming up and maintenance, and they can't afford to buy me out. I've done fine before the messy inheritance, so I won't miss it. On the other hand, my siblings want to move out of their apartments or pay for their kids' braces or some other sappy excuse. One even said his wife's car is dying and they currently can't afford a new car. My wife understands my hurt, but she said I'm taking it too far. My siblings alternate between begging and cussing at me. You decide. Edit to answer questions. It's not about the money. If my mom left me the entire estate, it still wouldn't be enough to cover the cost of what I spent on their health care, groceries, funeral costs, and not to mention all the bills related to the house. I spent that money with full understanding that none of it was coming back because they were my parents. The hurt comes from the nominal amount. My end game on good days, I don't know what my end game is. On bad days, I'm willing to go scorched earth and let the city auction off the house for unpaid taxes. Before my mom passed, the roof was leaking, and I got estimates that ranged from 25,000 to 30,000 to fix the rotted wood and then replace the shingles. She went downhill, so I just forgot about it, but now I'm willing to let it collapse into itself. There's no way my siblings can come up with the money to fix the roof, much less pay the taxes. So there's an emotional trauma
Right.
that this will has created, and how this parent decided to split the assets,
Right.
and their motivation behind it versus how the recipient, the beneficiary of that will, feels about this occurring.
Right. Well, I'm going to probably have the unpopular opinion.
I don't know. You might have the popular opinion. Take it away.
The mom's the asshole. Sell it and move. Move on. Tell your siblings to go jump in a lake.
Like I'm pretty much there, but maybe for slightly different reasons. I do feel like that mom created the issue. I think we totally agree on that one. Mom created the issue. I don't necessarily think her decision, because again, it was her asset to do with as she pleased.
Right.
I don't necessarily think her decision was wrong.
Right.
I just really wish she had said something to the child she was going to short, and like prep them before they had to co-deal with parental death and finding out you get like just a of inheritance, enough to say, well, you were my legitimate child, is effectively what I'm sure it feels like. And it's kind of a slap in the face.
Right.
But the reasoning behind the decision, I don't have a problem with. I really have to give asshole points to mom, though, for not pre-discussing.
Like, well, knowing that, but here's the thing. Those siblings are vultures. They're vultures.
Well, but sometimes, and I mean, like with the background of the situation, like the sibling that got shorted is perfectly comfortable financially. The siblings that got the lion's share, are all struggling adults.
Right.
Which is what influenced mom's decision, is that like they're living paycheck to paycheck and the money's not there for like common life things. I do think it's kind of asshole-ish, to belittle the fact that that's how they're living.
Right.
Because no, that's legitimate.
Right.
I do think it's very asshole behavior, however, to cuss out a sibling who just got slapped with the death of their parent and getting a tiny inheritance, before they can process that and choose to adult today.
Right.
Because there's an emotional inner child that's reacting right now, and that is totally legitimate. That feels like mommy loved me less, which really is not the reality of it.
Yeah.
And like screaming and yelling and cussing and begging the sibling right now to do what you want them to do because of your vulnerable position financially. Yeah, it's fallen on deaf ears, and if nothing, and more importantly, when it is heard, it's making it worse, not better. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go with everyone's shitty here, including deceased mom. That's where I'm at.
I'm going with deceased mom is shitty. And he should just sell it and move on. But the poll is up on Aeson Knight's YouTube. Feel free to vote and figure out who the asshole is. All right. So moving over to relationship advice.
Oh, how to fix the mess with my friend with benefits, 34 male, me, 22 male. We met on a gay app. I think all my posts since I made my account are about him and me, so I won't go into too much detail. We've seen each other about 10 times since late April and May. At one point, he wanted me to pay more attention to him, but at the same time, just be friends. I told him in that case that the moment I find a relationship, we will stop our friendship. He got offended and hasn't been the same since. June and July were constant date arranging, blocking and unblocking, maybe around 15 failed dates, mainly on his part. He writes about dates, something happens, and he blocks me. It's not like he hasn't slept with other men during that time, but still. I gave myself a bit of a break from him for about a month, about half a month, and a week ago he texted me again. Each time he came back more vulgar than ever. But in chatting, maybe because of the break we gave each other, he started to get quite interested in my personal life, things aside from sex. We got along pretty well, and I'd say deepened our relationship slightly. So yeah, to the story of what that happened today. We've been writing all day about the date we arranged. We were excited. We hadn't seen each other in 2 months, and somehow we knew we would see each other today. We arranged to meet in a somewhat crowded square. I came early. He was running a bit late. We arranged to meet at a restaurant, and I told him I was waiting for him on a bench near the restaurant and to text when he came so we could go in together. Maybe there was a misunderstanding because I was looking at my phone and suddenly I got a notification. I looked everywhere. You're nowhere. I'm going home. Whereupon I immediately jump off the bench to look up. Suddenly I see I'm blocked on the app, my phone number, etc. He thought I had lied to him about being on the spot without even asking me. I texted him on all social media. He has either blocked me or gets the messages and doesn't see them. I felt so bad. We wanted to see each other for a couple of days. I actually cried a little. I've had a really rough couple of months. I was kind of hoping to get some rest today at least. Two friends of mine were in the square too and said they had seen him and that the two of us had almost run into each other if I had left half a minute earlier. I know everything is toxic. A few days ago, he told me he's already looking for a serious boyfriend and maybe he wants to try and make our encounters not purely sexual. I'm making a last ditch effort because I have feelings for him too. I don't want to give up, but I feel like I won't hear from him anymore because of a stupid misunderstanding. I have nowhere to write to him to explain the situation. What should I do? Do you think it's all too toxic to stop trying, or should I still try to write him something somehow? And what to write to him in that case? Sorry for the English, it's not my first language.
All right. So here's the facts. This isn't a friends with benefits. Sorry, you've gone beyond that point.
It's a broken friends with benefits.
It is a broken friends with benefits. It is highly a dating relationship.
And it's not going well.
It isn't going well because they're both denying what it actually is.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's a situationship or an it's messy.
Yeah.
And that's at best. So yeah, so where are you in terms of, but is this a go forward?
Yes, it is, but it's a go forward after he comes out of his closet because he's ran into the closet and said, fuck you. That's what I call this block on everything, block on app, and then you come out and you unblock and you go back and you reblock. It's like, no. When he comes out, it's like, no, we're either dating, which means you're here every Friday night at 7 o'clock with bells on, or we're not doing this.
Well, I think from your perspective and what you're saying, that also is if this person, the OP, is ready for that.
Right.
Like if that's what you want to do, like you have to be ready to date him the next time he comes out of his hermitage.
Right.
From my perspective, I think at the point in which you have to say the words, I know everything is toxic.
Right.
This is not the person for you.
Well, and this is why I say this.
Okay.
Okay. They say that the reason he's seeing everything as toxic is because they're denying what is actually there.
I don't know if I have to, but if I'm starting to label someone toxic in my head,
Right.
I like that's a giant red flag to me of like, you know what? This is not the right person for me.
Right.
Like if I'm labeling things they're doing toxic,
Right.
whether it's true or not, whether it's true or not, if I'm seeing the behavior that they're doing as toxic and it's like, yeah, I know it's all toxic, whatever.
Right.
That's the giant red flag that says look elsewhere.
Right.
Like y'all need to stop. Like you need to accept that like y'all are potentially moving in two different directions,
Right.
and that on some level, yes, you might be great together. It might be a fun relationship and a great relationship, whatever.
Right.
But the amount of problems you've already
Right.
had
Right.
and misunderstandings and failed communications and like this back and forth you're doing
Right.
is a whole level indicator
Mm-hmm.
of how y'all are going to fight in the future, and it already sounds like neither of you are liking this.
Well, and I feel like that's because it's a misclassification.
Fair enough. Like I will give it that if you I okay, so I'll revise to say that if you can get Pat like the next time he comes out of his hermitage,
Right.
if y'all can like real talk and get on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
you might have hope here.
Right.
But I really would not push it. Like the first sign that like you're unhappy,
Mm-hmm.
that's a cut and run.
Right. And here's why I say it's a misclassification. They're treating it as friends with benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So friends with benefits you can cut off easily.
Yeah.
It's a temporary
But
position.
feeling wise, it seems like they keep cycling back to each other.
Yeah, they keep cycling back to relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So with them cycling back to relationship, that's where you have to come into question. What is it really? And what it is really is a relationship misclassified, and they're behaving in one situation when their feelings are for another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think either of you, at least with each other, are capable of a friends with benefits. Like
Right.
that's got to stop.
Yeah. I highly recommend, because of a few statements in there and some few comments in there, that you start with an open relationship, because I think that's what y'all two need
Mm-hmm.
by your behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a monogamy here.
No.
But it sounds like there also has to be a lot of understanding for each other.
Exactly.
That you're gonna have to get on the same page real quick.
Right.
Because if y'all can't get on the same page, this is gonna be toxic and it's gonna be
Right.
fireworks of blow up.
Right.
So good luck with that.
Right. All right. So let's get the poll and see if you're the asshole this week.
Oh, Brenda says I don't have the energy or attention span for the block and unblock bullshit.
Right.
Like
Well,
I will out myself. I have a tendency to block in a breakup.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a tendency to block in a breakup, but that's partly for me and partly for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I have to go back and forth on that, like that also is a red flag for me that like this is not working.
Right. And this is what I don't like about this feature, and then we'll go to the poll.
Okay.
I do not like the block unblock. It is not the bathroom door.
Okay.
All right, because this is what people are modernly using this block feature, unblock feature for. Go back 40 years, you get upset, you run to the bathroom, you slam the door. or you run outside, or you go in your car, or whatever. That's what people are using the block features to shut off communication.
Okay. Well, and it is, I know for me, it's when I feel like I'm about to get dragged into saying something I can't take back.
Right.
Or I'm having things said to me
right.
that are like, I really don't think you mean that right now. You mean it right this second, but you're not going to mean that in a few days.
Right.
So before I sit here and read this and get angry and like someone gets the ability to be lost forever, let's all just take a chill pill, and just stop talking, because no good is coming of it. Right. I really wish they had that sites would develop a button for that.
Yeah.
Like, we are in a problem. We all need to take a break before this gets out of control.
Right. Very much.
Oh, so. Yeah. Brenda's like, if I blocked, you're done. The door locks, it doesn't revolve.
Exactly. But that's how commonly we use it. But the younger generation, they're using it like the bathroom door.
Well, that's because we don't have really good, other options. Right. And I've noticed that is a downside of instantaneous communication. Like, with everyone, everywhere, around the world, on multiple platforms.
Right.
Is that we don't have a really good control of, shutting the fuck up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we have all lost the shut the fuck up button in ourselves, so the block button has replaced it.
Exactly. All right, so it's a mixed bag. It's 50-50 tonight, so we'll go with everyone is shitty.
All right.
All righty, guys. All right, so we will be up with Lady Gwendolyn on Thursday with Coffee and Tea at 8 p.m. And then Mountain Bears on Friday. As y'all know, tomorrow I am out of the office, so if you need me, you'll have to send smoke signals.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. That, y'all, we'll let Joe take it away.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes, and I will see you Thursday. Bye, y'all.
Bye.